Awesome, friends. Well, welcome to Tuesday's Mastermind Unleash Your Voice. How do you use your voice to grow your business? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We were just talking about successes. So does anybody else have a success that they would want to share? No?
I did a wedding yesterday.
You did a wedding?
Yes, I'm a wedding officiant.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was fun. It was fun. Look, cute little couple, and it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
I love that. Between you and Rob Peterson or Robert, I'm thinking about getting back into that. I've done one, but this was many years ago, and I was not in the space for being in public.
What about you, Jeff or Franklin? Do you guys have anything to celebrate? Let's hear it, Franklin.
Mac.
Mac. Let's hear it, Mac.
Anyone that calls me Franklin doesn't know me.
That's right. We haven't done a one-to-one yet. We need to do that.
This is my first one. I'm sorry I was late. I was raking the yard. About 2 months ago, a part of my business is I sell to retail stores, and that photo and video stores, outdoor sporting goods stores. We signed somebody up that has 500,000 members called Guide Fitters. It's a hunting and fishing guide service, and they have a website so the members can buy at discounts. This was a different perspective of what we do. We actually bought a store on their site for $3,500 and that, but in, what is this, week 3? We started right after the 4th. We've had over 300 orders from members. So it's awesome. It's when you are able to tap into something that you've never done before, it's always a little scary. But this has turned out to be very positive, and it's a very smooth operation. They send us the order slip. We ship it directly to the customer. So now we have that customer's name and all their information. And it's just been very positive overall.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Good for you. Oh, I love that. I love it. I love sharing successes. And here's one of the things that we're going to kind of transition into is, speaking about our successes. We as entrepreneurs and speakers, we need to be talking about how great we are. Okay, if you do not feel like you bring it, if you are all that in a bag of chips, how do you expect your potential customers to feel about you? They've got to feel you. They've got to know you. They've got to have that rapport with you. And if you don't believe in yourself, why should they? Right? So how do we talk about ourselves in ways that we bring it and that we show our authentic self, that we're excited about being who we are? And that's through storytelling. I've recently, and this wasn't what I was going to train on today, but I had another speaker that I've been listening to. I'm always learning from other speakers. And the speaker that I heard from yesterday, they showed up, and then here's my slideshow. Here's my presentation. And I want to tell you a little bit about me. So I'm going to use my story in this, unlike their story, so you have an understanding of what. And I have an education and a degree that I have business and psychology, and I spent 25 years doing this and that. And I've got this and I've got that, and I've earned my first this, and I've earned this, and I've done this, and I've done that. And I have so many things that make me sound like such a great person. really, because when I'm talking, it's all about me. And let's now move into this study that talks about why you should care about something that you honestly don't really care about. But I'm here to tell you, you should care about it. How many of you enjoyed that?
I'm not.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
throwing up all over themselves, aren't they?
And I see this so often when we have entrepreneurs and business owners that shift into speaking, because they're really they feel good about themselves in that I have done this and that and that. And in the litigation arena, that's my forte. I spent 25 years. Every attorney had a me wall. Their me wall was all their degrees and certifications and all this beautiful stuff, right? And I sort of have a little me thing going on here, but I make it a little fun, you know. It's not about how educated you are when you're talking with people. It's not about everything you've done. It's about showing your business in a light that allows you to connect it to a story. Because you being an entrepreneur, doing what you do, there's a story there, and there's a reason why you are doing what you're doing. There's a story. We all have it. We have to incorporate that story into our conversations with our clients, our potential clients and prospects, to create that attraction so that they want to know more from you, that they want to do business with you. Miss Beatrice, let's hear from you.
I'm discovering more and more that the reason people ask me to speak is because I'm very authentic and I tell them about my life. I don't go in and get all this stuff. I could take my books in there, yeah, and talk from the books, but the books are about me too. And I say that in the sense of I'm sharing them real life, sharing my real life with them. And that's what gets them, because they're looking at me like, wow, you did that? Well, surely I can do something like that too. I can, come out of this humdrum that I'm in right now, and I can get to the places that I want to be at. And I've seen those same speakers that you're talking about. I've seen them, and they're so stoic. They're just right there in that one place, and that's all that they can get to. And when they see speakers like me, they're like, where did that come from? How did you do that? Well, that's just who I am, and I believe that as speakers, as we put ourselves out there, as we put our authentic selves out there, they're looking at us and saying, that's what I needed to hear right there, because that's what's going to help me get over this next hump that I'm at right now. So yeah, yeah.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Jeff.
I just wanted to say I haven't been trained as a speaker. I don't go out of my way to be a speaker. And yet the biggest compliment I get after dealing with clients is when they come back to you and say, hey, look, you just laid it out in such a way and explained it to me in a way that I felt like you were sitting there with your arm around my shoulder, walking me through it, and helping me understand. And I trust you. And I appreciate everything you did. And to me, that just kind of that makes it easy, right? I don't want to stand up in front of people and spit out all this stuff. Yeah, I have the knowledge, but if I can't show it to you and get you to understand it, it doesn't do you any good, right? So that's the way I approach it.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you both for sharing. So here's what I want you to know is your audience, whether it's, and I say speaking is not just from stages. Okay. I speak from stages, but when you're speaking, when you're talking one-on-one with the client, you're actually speaking. When you're doing a social media post or a marketing post or, a little video, a clip or whatever it is, doing a newsletter, you're speaking. Okay. Anytime words come out of your mouth or your brain to touch other people, you are speaking. And so I appreciate you guys sharing that, because here's what we need to know when we are talking, when you guys are talking with individuals, prospects, they need to see themselves in you. So that's where the power of the story comes in, is when you share your story, you're building rapport, but they have to see themselves in you. They have to connect with you. So whether your service is something you basically, as an entrepreneur, you're like, everybody needs me. Everybody needs me. Everybody needs this, which is probably true. You know, we talk and we need to niche down, but the reality is everybody's a prospect. And so to connect with them on such a deep level is that rapport. Okay, you are building that rapport. It's that know, like, and trust, but to me, that rapport goes a little differently. So in thinking about the stories that you tell about you in your business, are you taking them on a journey? And this isn't a half-hour journey, my friend. You know, when you're talking with individuals, you've got to learn to tell the story that's succinct and you get to the points. Do they really need to know about the ex-husband and this and that? Do they really need to know about all of that? No. So have your story focused on your audience. Okay, so if I was talking to somebody who had gone through a divorce, I may talk about my ex-husband. If I'm talking to a man, I'm not going to bring up my ex-husband, right? My story is going to fit them, and it's going to bring value so that they connect with me on that level. That's why, Beatrice, you hear that, is because when you are speaking, the audience is connecting with you and seeing that journey. They see themselves in you. And when they see themselves in you and how you overcame that adversity, how you utilized whatever tools and processes that is going to get you to the home run, that's going to help you show up for yourself, that's going to help you make money, that's going to generate more business, and whatever that end game is that you bring, then they see that and they're like, I need some of that. Does that make sense? So when you're talking, understand when you're speaking with the client, you know, let your work, your referrals, your website answer the questions of who you are, your education, how many years you've been doing this, your degrees, all of that stuff. You don't need to proclaim your me wall. It is a waste. And as a speaker, I got to be honest with you, it's a waste of time. That 3, 4, 5 minutes, I may be talking about my background and my education and how I came up and corporate and this and that. And I would rather use that time and serve you so that you gain something versus just hear me puke about myself, because I'm all that. But understand that you are all that. Tell it in your story. Miss Beatrice.
You know, I find, and I've found this for quite some time now, I get more response from the audience, and it doesn't matter what type of audience it is. It could be a church audience, it could be just a conference, business conference or something. But when I say, well, praise the Lord and God bless y'all today, and they say, well, praise the Lord, and I'm like, oh, we're going to try that again, but just give me a moment. And I drop down in the front lead and rest position and start doing push-ups, and they're looking at me like, and when I get back up, I say, now let's try that again. Praise the Lord and God bless y'all today. Praise the Lord. Oh, you know, because they're afraid that I'm going to say, okay, all y'all need to get down and do push-ups with me. You know, and so I'm finding that people really respond to that because it's something that they don't see often. And it's something that's triggering something in their mind that says, wait a minute, this chick is serious about this thing. And let me go ahead and say, well, praise the Lord. And so that she can go ahead and tell us what she's talking about. And then that's what gets them excited though, you know, and I show them that excitement when I get down and do those push-ups. And that's what it brings them into my world, you know, while at the same time, it brings me into their world because
Yes.
I'm causing them to think in a way that they haven't been thinking. So I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Todd, did you have your hand up or is that my cursor? You're on mute.
That's your cursor.
Okay. Just double checking because this is a mastermind. We all get to participate if you so choose.
I appreciate that.
All right. So in the beginning, I said, you know, you've got to be authentic. You've got to be you. You've got to own that space, right? And being very passionate about your business and what you're talking about, the lessons, right? And how, but you don't need to be talking about your academics and your background and what I call your me wall. Own your space authentically and passionately, but then you've got to have grace, and it's not about bragging. You don't need to brag. You don't need to talk about, I made this million and that million and all of this. Let your website do that talking. Does that make sense? So I would love, okay, we've only got 10 minutes left. So who has a story that they could tell, their story that they could tell in a minute to help us refer business to you? Is anybody willing to share a story right now that is why you got in your business and can help us refer to you? Todd?
Now I'm raising my hand.
Good. Okay. Let's hear it, sir.
All right. So I got into coaching because I was struggling with my health and my weight. And I tried all sorts of different things, never happened. But then I found my true inspiration, which was my kids. And as soon as I discovered that, I couldn't fail them. So I started walking every day. And what worked for me, it can work for others, because over the course of a year, I ended up losing 100 pounds.
Nice.
Love that. You did. I was timing you. So good job. I love that. I love that. Who else in a
I
minute?
can listen to directions as well.
Yes. Anybody else willing to give it a shot in a minute? All right, Miss Wendy.
So I got into coaching because I was tired of being a perfectionist. Anybody experience being a perfectionist at work and then not having healthy relationships with your coworkers and having to go to the water cooler and vent to somebody, right? So I was able to learn how to find gratitude in those situations so that I can have better relationships with my coworkers and not go home stressed. Anybody want to go home not stressed so you can be in a better mood with your partner? I can help you with that.
Good job. You guys are awesome. Who else can tell a story?
I don't know if I can tell a story, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
For me, life started out as a challenge from, being stolen as a young child to lots and lots of, challenges along the way. And through that, the mental self-talk became very derogatory. And how many of you have ever said something to yourself in the mirror that wasn't too kind? Well, for me, I decided that I would create something that would deliver those powerful messages from that mirror called the affirmations mirror. And it's a talking mirror that you can program. So I want people to have those messages for themselves, because I feel like if we empower others, we not only empower them, we empower ourselves and our future. Who do you know who can help us make this a reality?
I love that. I love that. That was good. Thank you. All right. Jeff, Mac, Beatrice.
Yeah, so I don't know that I have a 1 minute story to tell, because it takes a little longer to break down the walls of the people that I'm talking to. If I have a story about credit cards, immediately the walls go up and people think I'm a vampire and start throwing garlic and so forth at me. So it's a little bit more of training and efficiency and so forth. but I do like to be able to just sit back and try to say, hey, look, I used credit cards for years. I know how to do them. I also know how to make them better for you. And that's the only way I can get in and help.
So may I offer a suggestion?
Absolutely.
So maybe instead of talking about the systems that you have in place, maybe sharing a success story of one of your clients and show the value of what you bring to the table, not how you do it.
Sure. I mean, it's easy to say, hey, look, I just saved so-and-so $30,000, let's talk. But you try not to come off too swarmy at the same time by throwing out too many numbers, right? So
it's not about the numbers. It's about, so your story is your character, the problem, and how you brought the solution so that they saved money. So you create the story. You already know the story. It's just a matter of packaging in the right words.
sure.
About, hey, my buddy Joe, he's been an entrepreneur for the last 10 years. He's been very, very successful. Sat down with him, and then we realized that there was money that he was losing. And then once we looked at the financials and looked at this and looked at that and did this, made some evaluations, we realized that I could actually save him, or not I, well, maybe I save him $30,000 or whatever it is.
Right. New efficient way to do things, right?
Yeah.
They
And you don't
can
know
do-
what you
They can do
don't know.
themselves, but they don't know how to do it. So
Yeah, that's right. You know what? He realized he didn't know what he didn't know until we had a
Sure.
conversation. And so what I bring to the table is the knowledge of what that back end may be, and allowing the minutia of your finances to kind of be a little more smooth, and saves you money in the end. And then it's one less thing you got to worry about.
yeah, like to say, I can set things up so that you can sleep better at night.
Yeah, but that's so broad. So
Yeah,
that's why the story of one of your favorite clients, the struggle, the problem, the resolution, and then the perk, that what you got out of it. Miss
Make it
Lisa.
something we can hold on to. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that occurs to me is when you're telling that story is you can show like the network marketing group. So look, they had this $30,000 left, and you know what they did? They spent time with their family, and they did something that they really needed to do or wanted to do. And they brought joy to themselves because they used my service, like kind of relate it back so that there's like a freedom factor.
Yeah.
Might
Yeah.
help.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
and-
happens. A lot of times they're able to use it to expand too, which makes them even happier.
Yeah, because you got to keep in mind, most people, they make buying decisions out of emotion, not out of facts like numbers. They emotionally attach, and that's when they make a decision.
Very true.
And maybe not expanding in the audience makes anybody else happy but that entrepreneur. But if you twist it to be more in the sense of they created the freedom they need to walk away from that grind, or that, to take that family on that vacation, their wife on that honeymoon they promised 30 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Now, Mac, Beatrice, do you guys have anything to add, or just gonna listen? Just gonna listen. All right, Miss Beatrice. You're just gonna listen?
She's over there doing push-ups. Don't let her fool you.
No, I actually did my 125 first thing this morning before I walked. I'm just saying. Okay,
I was just
that's
gonna
who I
ask
am.
how many this morning? 125.
Yeah, I'm working my way. I'll be 65 in January, so I'm working my way to 130. So I'll be doing twice as many as I am. I'm just saying, hey, it is what it is.
You go, girl. All right. I love it. All right, Mac, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, as far as a story, along with my repping business, at the end of 19, my my wife wasn't feeling good. Now, Gail was Miss Colorado for bodybuilding. She's the winningest woman in Colorado history. She wasn't feeling good. And there's a whole precursor to the story, that we weren't paying attention to, but she went into the doctor. They saw something. It took 3 weeks to go to her first specialist appointment. They immediately put her into the hospital. 3 days later, she was in hospice. A week later, she passed away. Now, for me, her being the healthiest person I ever knew, and this goes back to what Todd was saying, I went through a life transformation. I've dropped 80 pounds in the last 3 years. I've kept it off. But more so than the health issues is I know there's a lot of people in my wheelhouse. That's distracting. There's a lot of people in my wheelhouse that are wondering what they're going to do with their life when they have big changes. I help people do that.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. And I'm sorry for your loss. That's awesome. The power of a story. It is how we connect with the people on the other side of the phone, of the screen, of the room. And so while you may not be speaking from stage, I invite you to cultivate stories. Have a handful of them that are authentic, strategic, and will attract your clients. That you bring your amazingness, that all your value, everything, you own that space of your business and who you are, that you show your value in an amazing story that they will walk away with going, wow, somebody else needs to know about this person. And that's the power of a story. Is that helpful?
Yep.
Awesome. Makes sense, everybody? All right, who's going to go out and cultivate a story or two? Yes. Always have that. I love it. I love it. All right, well, that brings us to a close. We do a quick in and out, 30 minutes for this. If you guys have any other questions, if you need any additional support from me, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help and serve you guys. Utilize your voice, your stories to grow your business. So thanks for coming.
Thank you for hosting.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
See you,
God bless y'all.